Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller, and I am absolutely obsessed with Sabrina Carpenter's new song, Please, Please, Please. So it came out on Friday, and I have notifications turned on for a couple artists, and the music video hit, and it notified me. It was like Sabrina Carpenter released a video the night before or whatever, or maybe it was at midnight, released at midnight. I did not realize it was coming, and I was making my coffee because you guys know I have a morning routine. I stick to my morning routine. As soon as I get out of bed, I'm leaving my phone in the other room. I'm making my espresso. I saw so many posts about when espresso finds out that people call it espresso or something. I don't listen. One story after another, but I was playing it while I was making my coffee, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is giving mob wife energy. It was definitely bad girl and always falling in love with the bad guy or whatever. Art. It was art, okay? And they were talking on social media this weekend about how she dropped a little bit of an Easter egg with pool balls in the back of one of her photos, and then another one would a fan held up a sign. It was like, please, please, please. And I absolutely love all of the touches that go into artists releasing their music, because it's such an huge milestone, right? It's a huge part of their life, part of their soul. And so that they've analyzed every single lyric, and then they get to showcase how much they've thought about the song and introducing it to the world for other people to listen to. I just think it's amazing. I just think it's great. And I loved it. I watched it a couple times, and then I immediately added it to my Spotify playlist. I personally have a playlist for each summer. I do archive them often because I get a little embarrassed about what I was listening to. I think we can all say your music playlist can be very intimate and private, right? But whenever I want to feel the same feeling or reminisce about a certain time, I'll pull up 2016 or 2014. 2014 is over. It's 10 years ago. So if I'm thinking about the music I was listening to then in comparison now, what was popular, what was trending, all the things, or even 3 years ago, 5 years ago, right? And so I immediately added it to my 2024 summer playlist, and I've been listening to it on repeat. Okay. I love it. Speaking of please, 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 thank you so much for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. If you wouldn't mind right now taking just a few moments to subscribe wherever you are listening, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, it literally costs you nothing, and it means the world to me. So to be able to just subscribe, you'll be notified every time I drop a podcast episode, and I just appreciate it so much. So thank you for listening. And please, please, please. Okay. So this past weekend, I don't know, I'm so grateful for my family, right? And I was just really feeling the support of my family this past weekend. My, Nana Joe is my mom's mom. She texted me and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I miss you. Do you want to go to lunch? My great aunt texted me and she's like, hey, are you in town? I wanted to drop off a book for you. It's one of my favorite books. I thought you might like it. And Garrett this weekend, he was working on his pickup, and he needed to bend the muffler, I guess. I don't know. Shape it up. Unsure exactly what happened, but he went to my uncle's house. They worked on that, and it just reminds me of how important community is, how important family is, whether it's a chosen family or a given family, but having a community to rally around you, having someone to have your back. And whenever I'm traveling or even just reminiscing or thinking about my life and thinking about the people who believe in me, thinking about the people who ask me how things are going and have a genuine interest in my life, I am just always so rewarded when I think about it, right? And sometimes we don't appreciate what we have until, it's gone. And this past week, I also got to spend time with my mom, and we went out to grab some sushi for lunch. And we sat there probably for 3 hours, and we were talking about, anything and everything. And she was bringing up like family history and about my Grammy and how she heard a story from another family member, and she wanted to like fact check it because she couldn't remember quite. She was like, am I thinking right? Or, who was this? And it just makes me so, so appreciative for the family members and the friends that I have in my life. And the fact that it's such like a supported feeling I have. And I hope that, especially if I do have children, my nieces, my nephews, my siblings, I want them all to feel, that I support them as well. And it just like the standard that has been set by some of my family members is just honestly so nice. It's a nice little feeling. So thank you to some of my family members who listen to my pod. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. I definitely felt the love, especially this past week. So let's get into the peaks and the pits. So my peak of the week, you will not guess this. Okay, so we have patio furniture now, right? This has probably been the highlight of my summer, is this patio furniture, because for so long I have just been laying on the concrete, but like ants crawling up and down my arms because I'm on the ground, literally. So I have been spending a lot of time out on our patio furniture, and I will take my computer out there to work. I will take a book. I will just like spend any and all time that I have outside, as long as it's not too hot, as long as I'm like focused, because sometimes like with the heat, I'm like, oh, I gotta go inside, right? But I've been really just having a great time. And this past Wednesday or Thursday, I had a lot to do. I need to focus on my computer, and I was a little stressed. Like I was a little nervous. I was a little, apprehensive of what was upcoming, what I still needed to get done, the work that needed to be completed. And I'm typing away, and I have my little umbrella out that's shading my computer screen because I needed to get out of the house. But I really did need to focus and work on my computer. And as I'm typing, I see like two butterflies who keep like coming around and like fluttering around my computer, fluttering around my red umbrella, just, having a ball, living their little butterfly life. And as I was, admiring them, I took a photo. Taking photos of butterflies is so hard. This is why I grow zinnias, because I want the hummingbirds. I want the beautiful butterflies to come, and it just makes my heart so happy. But if you've ever tried to like take a photo, you have to be like so smooth. You have to be like so good. And I wanted to get the patterns and the markings on the butterfly properly. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a photo. I'm going to Google what type of butterfly this is, because I see it all the time. And now as I'm like telling this story, I don't even know what it is still. Like I was searching. So I had my phone up. I was like looking at my phone in one hand. I was holding it. And then I was using my right hand to search, to type, to scroll through the different breeds of butterflies in Missouri. And as I'm doing this, I'm like scrolling. The butterfly comes and lands on my hand. I was so excited. My hand is like so stiff because my phone is like being held. So it almost was like the butterfly was like, oh, you took a photo of me. You want to see what I look like? Here, let me land on your hand and compare with the photo that I took, of the butterfly on the plant all the way over here. The butterfly flew and landed on my hand. So I'm like searching. I like slowly moved my phone out of my hand so I can take a photo of her. And she just hung out with me probably for like 6 to 8 minutes, just hanging out. And I like had my hands bent because of my phone. And she was like trying to see if I had any nectar. I had nothing but sweaty palm hand for her. But I was so just like grateful that she landed on me. Butterflies, or maybe it was a boy, I don't know, but butterflies landing on you in the wild is unheard of, right? Like I have gone to Powell Gardens before, when they have their like butterfly experience, and it is so much fun, but in the wild, like that's not often. And I just felt like it was going to be a lucky weekend. Like I was feeling lucky. I was feeling so good. And it did help like some of my stress. I was like, oh my gosh, like we're taken care of. Oh my gosh, like things are going to work out. Like, and I searched up, I was like, what does a butterfly mean? Obviously it means change. But it said it was a good omen for like good things coming. I was like, this is exactly what I needed. Like I truly enjoy being outside. I love being with nature, whether it is lizards, because there's a ton of lizards by Rooster and Rowdy's like outdoor fenced in area. They love to like chase them around, or the squirrels. Like we have a ton of squirrels. They've hollowed out one of our trees and have like a huge nest in it. I love seeing it. I love listening to the birds. I love being outside, and it just like makes me feel so good. Maybe it's the earth sign in me, but there's nothing more than I love than to be outside and experiencing nature. And the butterfly landing on my hand was a top peak of the summer. It's never happened to me before. I've never had a butterfly land on me in nature. I've had a dragonfly like while we were on the pond or the lake, but never a butterfly. And it truly, it meant the world to me. It was so cool. My pit of the week. So I saw on social media probably like 2 weeks ago, or maybe less. I don't know. It's hard to keep track on how many posts you see, especially on TikTok, right? Because you can watch a video for 8 seconds and scroll on to the next one. But I saw this girl and she's like, everyone is getting Botox, but I don't think that Botox is the way to go. If you want to look young, and she like hops on the table. She has 2 Band-Aids across her knees, and she does look like a kid. Like she does look pretty young. And she goes, see, no Botox, but you saw the Band-Aids on my knees and you immediately thought, oh my gosh, like she's 12 years old, right? Like she's running around, she's trying tricks. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like that's, kind of correct, right? Like it's kind of correct. We think about kids having Band-Aids, but as an adult, we don't really like skin our knees. We don't really, get hurt, as often. Maybe you step on something, you break a glass, and you might like step on a little shard of glass. But like, honestly, I was thinking I haven't climbed a tree lately. I haven't climbed a tree in multiple years. Like that's weird, right? But as a kid, that's something that you might have done, or like roll down the hill, or go in the creek. I don't know. Like there's so many things that you do as a kid that can easily like get you hurt. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I don't really do that. This past weekend, I was, loading up my vehicle. We had our first Golden Gal Network retreat. It was awesome. It was amazing. We'll get more into that in a bit. But I was walking, and I ended up like scraping. I forget how I did the first one. I ended up like hitting my knee on it was on the side of a bed. So because this is not an area that I've slept in, right? Like for your own bedroom, you get a feel of where things are. You can practically like make it to bed in the dark. If you've lived in your apartment or your home for some while, you kind of know where everything is. You know the layout. I did not know the layout, and I smacked my right knee on the edge of this bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, that hurt so bad. I didn't even think about it. Then on the last day, I was helping one of our girls carry her suitcase down the stairs. People who were still like kind of in bed, like kind of sleeping, kind of not. And you know how it is. Like when you first wake up, you want to like relax in bed a little. So I was trying to be quiet. And Alexis is like, thank you so much for getting my suitcase. I was like, man, and the stairs were kind of steep, but I was like, man, if I fall down these stairs, and then of course I misstep and I skin my left knee on, like I hit the stair and hit my other knee. I was like, you are kidding me. And this time, like it really peeled up some skin. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it wasn't until afterwards where we were loaded up and I was driving home, I was like, I really skinned both my knees this weekend. Like that is crazy. I don't know if I was like in a childlike mindset where I was like playful or having fun and not connected to my phone as much, but more in the moment. I was like, dang, like here I've skinned both knees. Like that is it's a little pit. It's not a big deal, but I kind of have banged up legs right now. Like my poison ivy on my shin bone is like kind of drying up finally. I've had like a couple bug bites on my ankle. Like summer has not been kind to my legs lately. And I think I need to give them a little TLC for sure. But this past weekend was so much fun. So if you didn't know, I have the Golden Gal Network. It's a Kansas City social club, but we also do like surrounding areas. It is a blast. Okay, so I have my little sweatshirt on. It says, Golden Gal Network, the established date 2023. And it says at the bottom, girlhood shouldn't end at adulthood. And it has this like really cute outline of some girls dancing. I truly think that making friends as an adult is so hard. On top of that, when your friends move to different states or you're not as close to your high school or college friends anymore, like finding friends as an adult who aren't, just your work buddy, right? Like that sometimes can be a toxic environment if you spend all day with your work friend, then after with your work friend, right? There needs to be like a little separation, but it can be hard finding people who are interested in the same things you're interested in doing. It can be hard to break that barrier and be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Right. And so the Golden Gal Network is essentially an extension of the podcast because the podcast is a community and we talk and chat, but this is to talk and chat in real life. And so I love planning my monthly events and I wanted to do something that just like went a little deeper. And I love Hermann, Missouri. They have so many like just amazing wineries, distilleries, little speakeasies, dive bars. It really is a super, super fun little German town. And I thought it would be the perfect place, whatever, for our first Golden Gal Network retreat. So we headed up to Hermann. Luckily, it's only like a 3.5 hour drive from Kansas City. I had 6 other girls, so 7 with me included. We went up for the weekend, and honestly, I could not have asked for a better weekend. I felt so connected. I felt like before an event, you can have like a little bit of nerves, right? And you're getting a little nervous. And I know for myself that I really try to think out every single detail, right? Like I am worst case scenario, what's this going to do? What's that going to do? I created an itinerary. I wanted people to feel like they could come, they could relax, and they didn't have to stress. And there is a saying in French, it's like the art of doing nothing, or the simple pleasure of doing nothing. And I wanted the participants to not feel like they had to do anything, but still had a great environment for connection with one another, to foster friendships. And I feel like we don't hang out as adults as much, right? Like, girls trips take a long time to make it out of the group chat, and it can be stuck on details, stuck on funds, stuck on which weekend. And I feel like right now, a lot of people in my age group, or people from college or high school, we're going on girls trips, but it's for a bachelorette, or for a bridal shower or something. I don't know. Maybe that's just like my way of thinking. And because I was so burnt out last year from the amount of weddings, I love weddings. I love my friends. I love my family. I absolutely wanted to experience it with them. I would not have changed my last year plans at all. But I was like, man, like, where and when do we have a time and a place just to do something for fun, to experience a new setting, a new state, a new place, new whatever, and not have it be like this big event, right? Like, we don't have to do special things just for special events. Having people over to your home shouldn't just be for a birthday party. Having people go on a girls trip shouldn't just be for a bachelorette. We should be planning and having fun as humans, and just to experience the time as it is, just a random weekend. Like, it doesn't have to be a big event. It is the event that makes it special, right? It's the people who are going that is making it special. We don't have to have a reason to celebrate. We're alive, and that's reason enough for me. So when I was curating and planning this event, I wanted people to be able to have fun, just to have fun. And don't get me wrong, I love bachelorette trips. I love bridal showers. I love baby showers. I love any sort of celebration of life, but I don't think that we need to have a reason to celebrate life. And going on this girls trip was just, it was so much fun. And I was a little worried in the beginning, right? Like, I'm thinking, oh gosh, what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? I always second guess, and I think about this all the time, especially on my solo trips, because I've gone to like Austin by myself. I've gone to Scottsdale by myself. I've gone to Florida by myself. Like, I think about this of, oh, what if what I booked, it was on a fake website? Like, what if my Airbnb or my hotel, like, what if I booked it for the wrong date and time and they're sold out and I have to like sleep on the side of the road, right? Like, I think like I always question like if I actually did it correctly. And I am definitely a type A person, right? Like, I have X, Y, Z. We're doing this, this, and this. And I know that my details are meticulous. I know that I take so much time in planning an event, but there's just like this little side of me, especially because I know these girls are relying on me to create and curate a perfect weekend for them through the Golden Gal Network. So it is, in some way, it's work, right? Like, it's so much fun, but it is like, it takes a lot of effort. And as I'm like thinking about all these things, I keep reminding myself that it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun, right? Like, this is not supposed to be super stressful. And as I'm driving down, I have my entire vehicle packed. Okay. Moreover, what should be in there, I have multiple coolers, I have blankets, I have 3 suitcases, like, I have all the works. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm ready to have so much fun. And as I'm driving down, I put on my favorite playlist. Well, playlist at the moment, Please 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 was definitely in there. But I was like, okay, let's take a couple deep breaths. We're literally on the way here. And this weekend will go by in a flash, right? Like, it will go by so quickly. To be present, to just absorb it, and to be happy that we've made it this far. Like, some ideas and plans that you have in your head don't always come to fruition. You might have like this great idea, but you have to take action to actually have it come to life. And I kept reminding myself of all the things that I thought of or thought I wanted to do that never happened, or thought would be a good idea, but then ended up like it wasn't for me, it wasn't for my path. And I was like, this is something that you wanted to do and it's coming to life. We're here, we're at the weekend. And when we aren't present in the moment, when we aren't where our feet are, we can let that moment pass and we miss out on the amazingness of the planning and the prep and the aftermath as well, right? Like I think reflection is so good. And the last night that we were there, I was sitting in bed. We finished talking around like, I don't know, 11:30 midnight. It's the second night, so everyone's kind of wore out. We spent the day going to wineries and, different food places and having just like a blast. But I know my feet were killing me. Okay. So we're hanging out. People are like off to bed. And of course, I love to plan. I love to pack beforehand, get my ducks in a row. So I'm spending the rest of my night. I spent like a couple, maybe like 1 or 2 hours picking up my things, rolling my clothes. And I had this amazing time to just like reflect on the weekend. And I was thinking about my energy before the weekend. I was thinking about how I was running around with my head cut off. I was thinking, oh, I need this support to be perfect. I need this. I need that. And ultimately, some of the items that I had in my head that I absolutely needed, I didn't actually use. Sometimes we over prepare so much, or we have it in our head that we have to have a specific element to make it work. For me, I bought these plastic wine cups. They're so cute. I love them. I can't wait to use them at my home. But they're like outdoor cups, so you don't worry about like cracking the glass. I picked them up at Home Goods and I could only find 7. And I am an even kind of girl. I want things to have sets. I want them to have matches. And I searched so much for another wine glass just to have a set. And I ended up, we did not even use those wine glasses. Will I use them in the future? Absolutely. But that was a element that I was like, man, like I have to have this. And I didn't even use it. Another element was my G7X. So I love my G7X camera. It is so nice. I have used it quite often. Actually, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of actually owning it. I love it so much. But I forgot it at home, and I had a couple errands in town before I actually headed to Hermann. And so I'm like trying to get ice for my coolers and print off our itinerary. And I needed to pick up a couple extras of wine. I know that seems counterintuitive, like purchasing wine before going to a wine town, but I knew first thing in the morning we were going to do vino and vinyasa. So I was like, okay, we're going to do yoga and wine experience. Like I need to pick up some wine. So I was like running around. And as I'm like leaving the house, and also I want to like leave at a specific time so I can set up, I needed to grab balloons. Like there was just multiple elements that I needed. And I was running around, and literally I'm 10 minutes away from my house, on my way to all the stores. And I forget that I don't have my camera. And how cool would it be to have the flash, in the evening to like create really cool photos. And guess what? I forgot it. So I texted Garrett. I said, hey, would you like drive to town, meet me at one of the junctions? And I'll tell you when I'm done with my last store. I'll pick it up. It'll be quick. So essentially I was giving him like 20 minutes before I needed it. So I was like, if you can meet me here, like that would be absolutely great. He of course said yes. So he was going to meet me at the road. He left the house. He drove. He got the SD card, the charger, the camera, all the things, and brought it to me. He was so sweet, so kind. And guess what? We did not even use it. I did not pull it out a single time because as soon as we got there, I forgot about it. I put it in the bag, and I totally forgot that I packed the G7X, and our phones worked perfectly fine. Like I didn't miss it. Would those photos have been cool? Yes, but hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that the Golden Hour Drip podcast has a monthly newsletter. You'll find podcast updates, upcoming events and information, and bonus content. If you haven't already, click the link in the show notes and join today. Now, back to the show. And sometimes I just have to remind myself that whatever I think is a huge big deal right now is not going to be a big deal in the future, or might not be. Okay. Like, of course there's exceptions to the rule, and I don't want to like downplay or minimize the things that are sometimes like really stressful and do matter in the future. But I know for like several big events in my life, I've gotten like too in the weeds. Like, I've gotten too stressed out about like, oh, this has to be absolutely perfect, or like everything is ruined. And that isn't the case. Like, I still had a blast, and it's better to have it than not have it. Like, I am so grateful that Garrett was like, yes, I will bring that to you. Like, don't stress, like I'll grab it. But I didn't use it. I didn't even need it. And I feel like this just goes for life. Sometimes the small details, like, don't sweat the small details. People say that all the time, and I do think the like counter of pay attention to the details matter, because they do. I believe it was like, was it Dolly Parton, or hold on, the show, oh my gosh, it was like a Dolly Parton movie. She was like called Honey Bun or something like that. Not britches. No, that's what my dad calls me. What the heck? It was like something like that. I'm totally floundering right now. Anyways, it was a Dolly Parton movie, inspired, and she loved like the actress in it, loved it, and she essentially like goes and tries out for her mom's beauty pageant. Jennifer Aniston is in it, and not Darlin. It's like a nickname that isn't, it's like sweet, but it's not really sweet. Like, it can almost be like kind of mean or detrimental to one's emotional well-being. But she in the movie was like just a firecracker, honestly. But her mom was like, used to be the pageant queen, and now she like ran the pageants. And oh my gosh, it's like on the tip of my tongue. I feel like it starts with an H maybe, but I keep going to like Honey Boo Boo, and that's not like right. But she is Dumpling. Oh my gosh, I knew it wasn't like Darling, but it was so close. But in the movie Dumpling, her mom was like working on a dress, and oh my gosh, I'm mixing up all the details. Essentially, the details sometimes do matter, and that can be the little inch that you need to be better than who you were yesterday, or to beat out the pageant competition, right? And they were talking about Dumplin', how her favorite aunt had passed away, and her aunt was like in the drag show community, worked on her mom's dress for her pageant, and Jennifer Aniston's character was the mom who's in the pageant, and she was like, yep, and we couldn't afford a dress, but you know what, the aunt who have died, her sister, and Dumpling's like favorite family member had said, had stayed up all night, pressed the dress, made it like perfect, right? So details do matter in an aspect and can be really, really lovely. But if the details are taking away from the actual experience, if the details are becoming too muddled, if they're taking away from the overall picture, then maybe it's time to like release them, right? So that's what I was working on, just like trying to release the expectation from myself. I knew that I had done the work. I knew that it was as perfect as possible. And I think it truly is important to schedule some downtime before and after an event. I always try to do too much. So I wanted to make sure that my Thursday night, I had everything like together. I had the itinerary made. I was feeling confident. I was feeling good. And Friday, I took the entire day off Friday. I wanted to make my way down there as leisurely as possible, right? Like, I didn't want to be stressed. I didn't want to be rushing around. I wanted to be so present. And so having space before the event allowed me to be in the moment, to be so present, to think about and prepare my mind. I think sometimes we all try to do too much, where we're piling it on, we're stacking on the details, and we're not getting back to the basics, where it's like, okay, are we packing beforehand? Are we making sure our stuff is laid out? For me, like, laying out my outfit the day before can be so powerful, and feeling like ready and confident in myself because I've already done the work. I know what I want to wear. I just now need to like put it on. So doing some footwork, but also like when you're ready to go, like to just experience it. And then after the event, like Sunday coming back, I needed the time and the space to do nothing. I made it back leisurely. I unloaded my things from the vehicle. I had multiple bottles of wine, so I didn't want them to stay in the vehicle, and get hot and sour. But I just stacked all my bags by the door, and I needed the time to rot. I hopped in the shower. I, laid on the couch. I didn't do anything, honestly. And that is so good for my brain. It's so good for my mind. It's so good to like just unwind from the weekend, and also like let your mind process a little bit, because when I allow my mind to process, when I give it space, like that's when I think of the best ideas. That's when I feel really good about the decisions I make, and I allow for that creativity. I allow for that fun and that ease to come in. So this weekend, it was so much fun, and I have a couple tips for planning a girls' trip, because it's often they don't make it out of the group chat, right? Like, people want to do things, they want to go have fun, but sometimes it can be hard to get everyone on board. Or maybe you are planning a girls' trip, and these might be some things that you didn't think about. So the first one is pack recovery items. Recovery items does not mean that you are completely plastered and hung over. Recovery items can be Tylenol because you have a headache, of, different environments, air pressure, being out all day. Sometimes like different environments can cause sinus pressure and to feel sick. And maybe you do go out drinking and you need some Tylenol. But liquid IVs. Traveling for me, I often don't get enough water. And so I want to make sure I'm drinking enough water. I am getting the things that I need. So I'm making sure I'm doing that. Band-Aids. Okay, I brought 4 different pairs of shoes, and they all rubbed in the same spot. Okay, like under the bridge of my foot, I had the massivest blister. Massivest? That's not exactly a word. It was huge. Okay, my Birkenstocks first rubbed it, and then I had this pair of flats, and I thought, oh, like these flats might not rub against it either. Then I switched to these Target platforms, and they also rubbed in the same spot. So having a Band-Aid was like so impactful, because I was like, all right, I have my Band-Aid. Like, I'm able to do the rest of my trip, and my foot isn't going to hurt as much as if I would have forgotten the Band-Aid. So I was so grateful for that. I was like, any sort of like recovery item. This can also include shorts and t-shirts. Like, I think wearing jeans and a really cute fitted dress is awesome and amazing. You need some recovery after, though. You need to be able to put on your comfortable clothes. You need to be able to take off all your makeup. And if you get a sunburn, like, do you have aloe? For me, my skin is always so dry, and it comes into like being dehydrated as well. And the like air quality, especially if I'm on a plane, oh my gosh, my face breaks out like no other. But to have like my good moisturizer, okay? I love the Epion's face mask. I slather that on and let it absorb. Oh my gosh, my face on Sunday morning, I I woke up, my face was so dehydrated. I looked so just leathery. I was like, oh gosh, girl, like just staying up super late, not getting the proper amount of sleep, not drinking enough water. Because like access to water sometimes is very sparse. So I was like, all right, I don't have access to the water. I'm, feeling parched. I put on my bee oil. Vitamin C serum, niacinamide, bee oil in my Epion's face mask. And I was like, my face was like having a tough time absorbing it all. It was like a shock to the system. Finally, she absorbed it all. She's feeling good. She's feeling fresh. But I needed that recovery item. I needed it to soothe my face. I needed my liquid IV to soothe my parched body. I needed my Band-Aids to cover my feet. So any sort of recovery item that is going to give you ease or comfort, even if you don't need them, like if they're precautionary and you don't even need them, that's fine too. The next one is have an itinerary, but be flexible. One of my pet peeves is when people can't make a decision. Okay. They're like, oh, what do you want to do? What do you think? But like nobody has the guts to say what they actually want. It's like, oh, well, I'm cool with whatever you want. Oh yeah, me too. Like I'm open. Cool. So what do you want to do? Oh, I don't care. I mean, anything. There's no decision making, and it can be so frustrating. So I wanted an itinerary because there's no question about it. This is what we're doing. We're going here. We're doing this. And you can always opt out though. Like I think being flexible is important. And sometimes I have to remind myself like being flexible is okay. And like I would rather someone take the time that they need for themselves, or if something better comes up, to have the flexibility in the schedule to then like schedule for it. If you have such like a strict and regimented thing, it can be a little difficult to be impromptu and welcome those new experiences and the things that happen on the fly that you might not have gotten to experience if you would have just like not like if you would have stick to the schedule. So I think having decisions made is always important, but to also like be flexible when the time comes is chef's kiss. That's what's needed. The next one is multiple outfit changes. Okay. So I love summer, right? Summer is so nice. Summer is so good. But I want to make sure that I have enough outfit changes for how my body is feeling in the moment. So for me, I want to feel comfortable, and I also want to like match the vibe. Sometimes it's so hard to match what other people are doing, like if there's no conversation beforehand. So I always like to ask and see what are other people wearing, what are people packing. But if I pack something and I don't feel a million times confident, or say I start to wear it and then it starts to feel uncomfortable, maybe I've eaten like a big lunch and now I'm feeling a little bloated, I want to have multiple outfit changes. And speaking of outfits, I also want to have like more underwear than is actually needed. I think switching out any sort of undergarment, especially if you've been walking all day, can feel really good for your body, and you can feel clean and refreshed, like brushing your teeth, or you can't always like hop in the shower like super quick. I took 3 showers on Saturday though. Like I woke up that morning, I rinsed off. halfway through around like 1 p.m., my hair had gotten a little like rained on, and it was also like second day hair. So I felt like I needed to wash my hair, washed my body at 1 p.m. And then later that evening, my feet were hurting so bad from like walking around and all the blisters. I took another shower before bed. And that's like a way to feel refreshed. But when I showered at 1 p.m., it was like a full body shower. Well, I wanted to change up clothes. And so I had options, and I was able to switch it out. I was able to do something new. So I think having a change of clothes can be really, really nice. Or if you're planning on wearing something, say you pack it up and then everybody else is wearing something else, and having the option to change can feel, one, really empowering, and two, like, now you're feeling more comfortable. You're like, oh, good. I'm glad that I also brought jeans so that I could wear the jeans instead of the cocktail dress that I packed or whatever, right? Okay, this next one, planning for a girls trip, you want to bring your own towel if possible. Hear me out. An Airbnb and a hotel do have towels. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you are sharing a hotel with someone, if you're sharing an Airbnb with someone, usually they give you a set amount of towels. And if you want more towels, if it's like a hotel and they're available, you have to call down, you have to ask. Now you're in charge of all these extra towels. You don't want to get charged for them. An Airbnb sometimes, or a Vrbo or whatever, there is a finite amount of towels. Like, they might have, 2 towels in one bathroom, 3 towels in the other, and you have more than that of girls. And if you're like me and taking 3 showers like I did on Saturday, you're going to want a nice clean towel. I don't like a wet towel. So I bring 2 towels. But when you have a girls trip, everyone wants to take a shower and there might not be enough towels. And I never want to feel limited in my, bathing experience. So bringing my own towel, I'm like, oh, heck yeah. Like, I'm going to grab my towel. I'm not going to worry about, if I take 2 showers during a weekend trip, or I took 5, I think, this weekend. It was humid. I got rained on. I got sweaty. Like, I like to be clean. It's summertime. I feel like summertime, you shower the most, because if you do any sort of workout, if you go outside and get sweaty, if you get before bed, like washing off your makeup, like, summer, I feel like I just take so many showers and am like rinsing off. And maybe it's because I am outside all the time that I'm like walking barefoot in my yard. I'm pulling out some bushes. I'm digging in the dirt in my garden. I don't know. Like, there's so many things that I do that I'm like, ooh, I need to be like rinsed off from this. And it's like a cooling down factor, right? Like, it can be so hot outside, and to take like a semi-cold shower, so good. So I like bringing my own towel. The last one I have on this list is rest when you can. Okay. I think any sort of weekend trip, it's really exciting to have like one event after another, but sometimes like you need that downtime. You need the time to think, time to unwind and relax, and scheduling that alone time by yourself. I mean, it goes back to like prepping before and after an event. You want to have the space to be like the kindest, bestest person that you can be. And for me, sometimes that's alone time before I can like show up for other people. I have to pour into my own cup, whether that's journaling or reading or scrolling on my phone, watching a movie, doing my hair, like completely separate and quiet by myself, going to bed early, sleeping in a little bit, those like resting when you can, and like actually resting. There's so many times, especially like on a weekend, you guys know I love a weekend nap, but when you are like on the couch and you're feeling so tired and drained and you're like, man, I really should take a nap. I have the time to take a nap, but you end up like scrolling on your phone, and then it's now like 4 p.m. and 4 p.m. is like the worst time to take a nap. Like, it's too close to like supper time and like actual bedtime. It's the worst. For me, the best time is like 1 o'clock, 1 to 2, like 1 to 3. You can even sleep 1 to 3 and still be fine. 1, 2, 3:30, 4, you're pushing it. but you could possibly do it. I think you just need adequate time before like your second sleep, or maybe that's just for me. And I want to make sure that I'm going to still get my 8 hours of sleep that night as well. So I like to have a little space between it, but rest when you can. Okay. Take a little bit of nap. And when you do have the time to take the nap, take the nap. Don't scroll on your phone, because if you lay on the couch at 2:00, still almost a little too late, and scroll on your phone until 4. I know that sounds extensive, like 2 hours on your phone, but it's so doable. I mean, everybody is on their phone constantly, or maybe it's just me. I don't know. And now you're like, man, I'm still really, really drained. I didn't take the time to actually rest, and now I'm paying for it. Now I'm a little tired. Now, like, I'm going to have to spend the entire evening. Maybe you're working, maybe you're hanging out with friends, or you have to be like just productive and good, right? Like, you could still be utterly exhausted. So that is like my tips for a girls trip. Our Hermann weekend was honestly just, it was exactly what I needed. It was so perfect. And a couple of the things that we did, just to give you a little rundown, because I did not share the itinerary before the event. I wanted to make sure that I was keeping the girls protected, right? So we got there on Friday night. We went to the Loose Caboose Saloon. If you've ever been to Hermann, they have like these cute little town shops and places, restaurants, and the Loose Caboose Saloon had a karaoke bar. Oh my gosh. Okay, one thing about me is I am not a very good singer, okay? That is one thing that God did not bless me with. And I'm sad about that every single day. But I can do karaoke in a crowd. And a couple of the girls and I went up on stage and we sang Taylor Swift's song. And it's an old one. Now I'm not even like, I'm freaking, I hate that stupid truck. Or what? I hate that stupid old pickup truck. Whatever song that is. I'm not going to sing it right now. Plus my voice kind of hurts from talking all weekend. Picture to Burn. That's what it's called. Picture to Burn. That was like one of my favorite songs growing up as a kid with my sisters. Like we would sing that constantly. I know every single lyric. Like I can belt it, like even as a bad singer. And so we went up there, we sang Picture to Burn. So fun. They had like a little dance floor. We were dancing. I actually met 2 of my friends from Kansas City. They were also there that weekend. And after, like on Sunday, we posted a couple photos. And one of the girls who's a follower of the Golden Gal Network, she had commented, she's like, this is crazy. I was there for my bachelorette weekend and I saw you. I was like, oh, that was so sweet. But it's crazy. You think this world is so big, but it's like not that big at all. And that's what I love about the Golden Gal Network. Like it's connecting individuals to one another, and it's the loose ties, like the Defining Decade book that I talk about all the time that I recommend to anybody. You can be, before your 20s, a little bit after your 20s, you can be in your 30s. Like I think it's just a really amazing book for anybody who is trying to find themselves. But they talk about like the loose ties. Like usually it's not what you know, it's who you know, and maybe it's who you know's brothers, sisters, girlfriend, what, I don't know. But who's going to get you the job or whatever. So we went to the Loose Caboose. Then we stayed up talking, and the next morning we got up. We did a yoga class. I taught a yoga class in front of the Missouri River. So it did rain that morning, just a little bit. And we took our yoga mats to a grassy area right in front of the riverfront. And I flowed through a couple sun salutations, and we got coffee by, oh my gosh. Okay, there is an amazing coffee place. You guys know I love my coffee. But it's called Espresso Lane. How fitting. Here I'm talking about Sabrina Carpenter in the beginning. Like espresso, it's just having its moment. Okay. It's very iconic. You guys know I am obsessed with coffee. If there is an addiction I have, it's coffee. And I try not to go a day without it because it's happiness. A day without coffee, like, is when day closer to just being sad, right? So I love coffee. We went to Espresso Lane. That's where I first had a Vietnamese coffee. So good. Love condensed milk. So we grabbed coffee. And this is another thing. I was talking about how you like plan and think things are a big deal, and they usually aren't that big of a deal. I needed to pick up wine bottles so that we could have vino and vinyasa, but everyone was kind of like a little hungover, a little bit tired from the previous night. And so we just drank coffee at the yoga experience. We didn't even drink the wine. We didn't even use the wine cups. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're stressing about the things that literally don't matter, like, you're too stuck in the weeds. Like, have the big idea, have the big fun, and it will be perfect, I promise. So we did like yoga in front of the riverfront. Oh, it was so fun. I enjoyed it. Plus, like, my knee was still hurting, and from like dancing and walking, like, your body just needs to be warmed up sometimes. So we did that. Then we got on the trolleys, which the trolleys are these buses, and you can have all your girls on there. You don't have to be worried about drinking. They like take you along to all the different wineries. So cool, so amazing. I've been to Hermann like a couple times now, and I love all of the wineries. We spent the most time at Stonehill. I love Stonehill. I walked out of there with 6 bottles of wine. Like, it is just, the tour is so cool. We went and ate there. Then we went to we went to 2 distilleries after lunch. A couple girls, rest when you can. They chilled at the house. And then we made it back, and we went to a piano bar at the evening. We also went to like a couple little shops. I got a salt and pepper shaker. They're little hummingbirds. They're so cute. I love them. But they're hummingbird salt and pepper shakers. I can't wait to put them in my house. And you know what's also crazy? So in this room, you cannot see it on YouTube. So sorry. But if you follow me on social media, I purchased a print, and it's like ladies at lunch. It's girl dinner, right? I saw the same print at one of the shops in Hermann, except for it had a green outside matting, not maroon. What are the odds? Like, seriously, like, when I went to the Casey Cuisine Club, it was a massive building. Okay, it was huge. And I pick out a painting that was in the bathroom. It wasn't even like out in the regular area. I pick it out, I purchase it. Then I have this Hermann retreat that I'm so nervous about. That is my first time ever. And I go into one of the shops at random. Like, it was not on the itinerary. This is what I mean by being flexible. Like, we happened to stop by, and above the register is the same painting, and this is like not a common painting. And I felt like it was just a wink from the universe, a wink from God saying, you're in the right place at the right time. You are doing exactly what you need to be doing. And it was like a little hug. Same thing with like the butterfly landing on my hand. Like, it's these little moments, these little glimmers in life that tell you you are where you are meant to be. Things are working out how they should be. You're the luckiest girl in the world, and you're doing great, honey. So that's what I was feeling this weekend. We had a great time. I couldn't have asked for a better weekend retreat. Girlhood really should not end at adulthood, and we should be doing more things to celebrate life, to celebrate friendship, and to have these fun experiences that just make life even sweeter. So I cannot wait for our next retreat. We have 2 events, no, actually 3 more events in June. We have our comedy club that is this upcoming Friday. So excited. Casey Comedy Club. And then the following, let's see, 2 Sundays from now, maybe just 2 Sundays from now, we have our yoga in the park, a little sunset yoga. So excited for that as well. And then we have our book club. This month, we're going to have it the last Wednesday of this month. I think we're going to alternate back and forth just, due to summer plans and everything. But we have 3 events coming up in June, and you never know when the next Golden Gal retreat is going to be here. Actually, I'll just tell you now, a little secret for the pod. You can go to the Golden Gal Network on Instagram, and I have a form set up for our retreat. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's going to be another weekend experience come October, September. So you can check that out at Golden Gal Network on Instagram. A little sneak peek surprise for you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.